What's going on, everyone? First week of USFL football is in the books. We're pushing down with these QB rankings for our week 2 going into week 1. Starting it off strong, we saw some great QB play. We saw some below average QB play. We saw some maulers that are going to continue to mauler. And we saw some of the most, we saw a record get broke or started or whatever you want to call it. Pretty much, it was awesome. We had 2 spring football leagues going at the same time, 8 football games going this weekend. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Everyone, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. It's been awesome feedback and obviously more feedback. I'm going to keep doing these. So let's go into the honorable mention. I didn't put him in the article, but Terry Wilson came in for the Gamblers. Didn't throw any passes, a couple rushing attempts, just kind of getting his feet wet. If you don't know about Wilson, he's been to about 5 colleges, finished up at Kentucky. I didn't have him ranked in my preseason rankings because it seemed like the Kenji Bahar show, and for most of it, it was on during week 1 versus the Panthers. With how ineffective Bahar was, maybe we'll get some more Terry Wilson, but that remains to be seen. So let's roll into the rankings right now. Coming in at number 13, Troy Williams. Originally, he was unranked. He went 4 of 12, 23 passing yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 1 rushing attempt, 7 rushing yards. It's going to be the same thing for for Williams as it was for his counterpart James Morgan. Both these guys didn't really get comfortable in the system that they seemed to be working in. Both him and Morgan were rotated in and out. Morgan had some good plays towards the end of the game, and then they put Williams in for the final drive. Williams is a true rookie. This is his first professional experience. Hopefully, we'd see more of him just as a developmental prospect. I would personally say with James Morgan. That's my opinion because he is more of an air quote proven commodity. But both these quarterbacks did not do well. Kind of preluded it with it. Who's going to be next in our rankings? But starting off, Troy Williams at number 13. Coming in at number 12, obviously James Morgan for the Pittsburgh Maulers. He started off in my preseason rankings at number 10. Went 6 of 15, 58 passing yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 1 rushing attempt, 5 rushing yards. Same thing. This is Coach Tomlinson's second year in the system. You'd think there'd be a little bit more continuity. At this point, he's gotten the opportunity to work with Kyle Lauletta, Josh Love, Roland Rivers, and Vad Lee. We've seen what Love did this weekend. Obviously, he's going to be a little bit more further down in our rankings, but it doesn't matter. They do have some decent running backs, Garrett Groshek and Madre London. London isn't this breakaway speed guy that everyone thinks he was because of the numbers he put up in the European Football League, but Bailey Gaither and Trey Walker are kind of fringe NFL players. They do also have Isaiah Henney, who had a punt return, but overall, I think they only had 3 of their receivers catch the football: Gaither, Trey, and Artavius Wynn. You're not going to win football games with just 3 of your guys making plays. If they do make plays, hate to say this, I think some major system change has to come as far as the offensive play calling. I think Tomlinson's a good guy, but it seems like she's just not getting it done, especially with Josh Love, how good he played last week. Coming in at number 11, Cole Kelly for the Memphis Showboats, previous ranking number 9. He went 2 of 5, 16 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, no rushing attempts, no rushing yards. I mean, at this point, it was a cameo appearance for the 6'7" signal caller. A little bit disappointed they didn't utilize his rushing ability. He is an athletic guy, had 34 touchdowns while in college through Arkansas and Southeast Louisiana. Really just a series here. That was it for him. Nothing profound, no lasting impression. But the big thing for him is he was able to get live reps. But this Stars defense, looked like they would have ate him alive. Brady White had some trouble, a couple inflated stats at the end. But regardless, it did seem that, Kelly, like White, was, just kind of getting settled in everything. White didn't play as great as a stat line indicated. He did have a couple missed throws. Granted, there were some drops. They just released DJ Myers. The Memphis Showboats did, so maybe we'll see Osiris Mitchell get some live reps. Someone to look out for on the Showboats that everyone's really talking about. Ryan McDaniel had a pretty decent showing. I think he had a touchdown on like a 61-yard pass or something like that, or 64 yards or something like that. Moving forward, I definitely see Cole Kelly becoming the guy there, but it seems like they're going to keep hiding to those Memphis ties that White has. Coming in at number 10, Kenji Bahar, previous ranking number 11, 13 of 22, 109 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, 2 rushing attempts, 16 rushing yards, 2 fumbles. One of them he lost. So obviously that offensive line got overwhelmed. They did have some good things going on with TJ Pledger, the running back. Josh Peterson, the tight end, Doug Peterson's son, had a nice game. Big shout out to Clint Sig, playing some fullback, taking on Breland Speaks. But Bahar had no time passing back there. There's 4 sacks from the Panthers offense or defensive line. Coming from the defensive line, they had 4 overall. Obviously, Breland Speaks winning Defensive Player of the Week. Overwhelmed, man. That's really the only thing I can tell you. Just overwhelmed. They tried to get a little bit into the one read, quick slant option. Warren Saba read it. Big ups to Warren Saba. Obviously last year he got hurt during week 1 and then released. He's back with the Panthers again. For Bahar, this is his 4th professional game, going into his 5th one. He's developing more. He's going to need a little bit of time. I don't know if they have the weapons to compete with the rest of the USFL, but obviously a little bit of a step back. He's got to do a lot better job of taking care of the football. But once again, Kenji Bahar coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 9, Carson Strong. Excuse me. Previous ranking, I had him at 5. I was thinking he was going to be the starter. He went 5 of 5, 34 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, no rushing attempts, 1 fumble. Did get sacked. He took the hit. He got the game reps. Big thing for him. And all that's going to count. God forbid Josh Love becomes ineffective. He, gets hurt. These guys are getting reps, and that's going to go a long way, especially a guy like Strong, who's got all the arm talent in the world, and he got hit. And granted, he fumbled, but the thing is he did get hit, and he got back up, and everyone's always going to hold their breath because of his knee, but obviously it was just a cup of tea. The thing is that he's slowly getting into this, was able to move the ball after his little slow start. I think they got 2 or 3 first downs while he was at quarterback. Obviously, this is the Josh Love show right now. I mean, I've talked with Coach Marty a couple times. He had nothing but good things to say about Love in the offseason. And, Strong might have to wait a little bit, but you keep putting together these nice little cups of teas, getting on the field. And overall, he's got 100% completion percentage. It doesn't get much better than that. They got him in right before the second half, right at halftime. Not a bad showing, just limited action. Dumped off to the running backs a lot. Couldn't really push the ball downfield. I'm sure he wanted to, but Stevie Scott had a nice little swing route that he took for a first down that really, kept the chains moving for them. Coming in at number 8, DeAndre Johnson, New Jersey Generals. Previous ranking, I had him at number 4. He was 4 of 13 for 29 passing yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 7 rushing attempts, 45 rushing yards, no fumbles. Big thing was, obviously, he's having accuracy issues. Talked about it in the preseason rankings a little bit. Johnson's going to have to throw the football. He was not the main thrower of the football. He had 13 attempts. I think Precup had 16. Going forward, if we want these generals to be the generals of last year, they need to be able to move the ball with Johnson at quarterback. Did have the 45 rushing yards, but for him to take that next step of development, he's going to need to be able to manage the game effectively, find his dump offs and whatnot. I did see 2 drops, but there were a bunch of erratic throws and whatnot. Maybe they can figure it out with Precup as a 2 quarterback system, but right now it's not looking good for Johnson. He drops a decent amount of spots. Coming in at number 7 for the Memphis Showboats, Brady White. Previously, I had him unranked. Went 16 of 29, 182, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 4 rushing attempts, 29 rushing yards. 3rd-year pro right here, man. He played 1 year in the spring league, his 2nd year in the USFL. I don't see it. I don't think it says, it's kind of like we're forcing something here. I'd rather see Ryan Willis if Willis is effective, Kelly, but regardless, slow start for Willis. He threw a duck to Channing Stribling, who continues his streak of dominance in the USFL. That was Stribling's 8th career USFL interception. I'd have to look up to see what he had in the AAF and the XFL. Stribling's obviously been a uber amazing competitor when it comes to all football. He's pretty much an all football Hall of Famer. White, White looked a little bit frazzled at times. The pressure from the defensive line kind of affected his decision making. Kind of put it together at times, but he's going to need to do a lot more. Coming in number 6, Dakota Prukop, New Jersey Generals. Previous ranking, I had him at 14. He went 13 of 17, 148 passing yards, 0 TDs, 0 interceptions, 4 rushing attempts, 12 rushing yards, a touchdown, and a fumble on the ground. I mean, this is his first time playing in playing in the United States. He was in Canada since about 2018. Um, he's got a connection with Braden Broman and Cameron Eccles-Looper. I mean, those were his two guys. He's finding them, feeding them the rock. Good things happen. Occasionally, there was some pressure coming on him. Jonathan Newsom had a good game. It seemed like he was in the backfield at all times. That kind of made things a little bit erratic for him. Overall, not a bad performance. I'd like to see a little bit more. Haven't had the chance to diagnose this film yet, but I did like what I saw. Stepped into the throws he could, was able to be mobile on the run, extend plays, and then obviously had a nice rushing touchdown as well. Me at number 5, I got Jamar Smith, Birmingham Stallions. Previous ranking had him at 2. 2 of 15, 160 passing yards, 1 TD, 1 pick, 2 rushing yards, 2 rushing attempts, 1 rushing yard, and 1 fumble. First play for the offense, dynamic. 61-yard touchdown to Austin Watkins, and then it kind of slowed down a little bit. He did throw an interception. I don't fault him on that because it was the right decision, just poor execution. That's what I've told people on the internet when he was rolling out, being forced out to the right side. I think he was rolling out in the end zone. I know they were backed up, tried to throw the ball away and just couldn't get it out of bounds far enough. That was the right thing to do. There was nothing open. He just didn't throw it out of bounds, made a mistake. Obviously, Stallions won. I was talking to Luke Miller of USFL Newsroom, Pro Football Newsroom, whatever you want to call it. He did break his hand, a finger on his throwing hand, which led to Magoo coming in and whatnot. I don't see that stopping Jamar because obviously we're defending a title here in Birmingham. But that could, pain can travel, and we'll see what happens. Not a bad performance, but obviously we saw it was the Alex Magoo show. Coming in at number 4, I got Alex Magoo. Surprise, surprise. Birmingham Stallions. Previous ranking, number 6. He went 7 of 11, 68 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, 6 rushing attempts, 51 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown on the ground. Kind of like a closer at this point, a relief pitcher in baseball. Comes in, he finishes the game just as he did in the championship game. He's 3-0 as a starter, extremely athletic, can make plays. He's got a strong enough arm to make some good throws. Him and Jay Sternberger are keyed up right now. That was a beautiful touchdown in the back of the end zone, giving them the lead. I don't know if Magoo is going to get the start next week because it is a non-throwing hand injury. And I think you do owe it to Jamar Smith to keep rolling with him. And while I do think Smith played a good game, it wasn't a great game versus Magoo, who obviously played a great game. But in the end, the Stallions got formula and they keep winning. 11 and they would be 12-1 since the newest iteration of the USFL with Skip Holtz's system. Let's see what happens. Keep running it out with Smith and Magoo, and eventually, if one of these guys continues to dominate, ride that hot hand, it hasn't failed them yet. Coming in at number 3, I got MBT, McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Thompson of the New Orleans Breakers. Previously, I had him at number 3 in the preseason rankings. Went 23 of 41, 302 passing yards, 1 TD, 4 rushing attempts, 16 rushing yards. I mean, the guy came to play. He's going to be a quick signing to the NFL, especially if some injuries in training camp happens. He keeps playing like this. If you don't know who MBT is, I got a video highlighting him. Paul Woods is writing a great book about him. He's someone you should probably be following if you're a fan of the USFL and football in general. Guy was able to move this offense uber effectively. Him and Sage Surratt keyed up, former Birmingham Stallions tight end. Doesn't get much better than what we saw from McLeod, especially in front of his wife and daughter. Still athletic enough. Everyone saw that hurdle of him jumping over the Mauler's defender for a first down. Guy's got, a little bit erratic at times. I think at one point he was like 4 of 12, put together a decent, almost 60% completion percentage, maybe a little over. And the Breakers won. They will have to clean it up because obviously the Maulers are still the doorstep of the USFL. Coming in at number 2, Josh Love, Michigan Panthers, previous ranking number 8. Let's be honest. This is 19 of 21, 216 passing yards, 3 TDs, 0 picks, 4 rushing attempts, 0 rushing yards. From 2022 to 2023, no one showed as much improvement as Josh Love did. I think that says a lot about the Pittsburgh Maulers. One of the conversations I had with Coach Marty was you cannot judge any Maulers quarterback playing football right now. So I take that as a testament to Love, Laletta, Vadley, as well as Roland Rivers. Granted, Rivers is a free agent, possibly coming on the show soon. Finally found some stability, and we did see improvements with Love as he continued to progress with the Panthers last year before injury. But, that team is completely revamped. Plenty of weapons all over the offensive side of the ball. They're utilizing the tight end a lot more with Marcus Ball. They got Trey Quinn, Joe Walker, very underrated receiver. Ish Hyman is there. People sleep on Stevie Scott, man. And, I got some heat talking about this on the Markcast. But, I think Stevie Scott's a more complete back than Reggie Corbin. Statline says I was right on this go around. Love was able to stay within the system, make some good reads, some quick throws, and they obviously won the game. This guy played an amazing game. He won Offensive Player of the Week, and then we'll see what he does next week as they take on the Stars. Coming in number 1, Case Cookus, Philadelphia Stars, previous ranking number 1, 20 of 29, 212 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, 7 rushing yards, 7 rushing attempts, 31 rushing yards. Ranked him number 1 for a reason. Now he's got a full season to put 10 games together and see what he's got going on. He's the leading rusher, which is a great sign because now we're, everyone had questions about his leg. Obviously, he played with the Rams for a little bit last year, but, you still kind of wonder if it's fully healed, how it feels. Like I said, 31 rushing yards on the ground. At times, it looked like it was too easy, that the game was too slow, like for him at once in a while. It looks like he just kind of has all the time in the world back there, just kind of doing what he does, picking apart the defense, finding Devin Gray, these other receivers, Corey Coleman. It was just too easy for Cookus. He keeps playing like this, he'll win the MVP, and then it'll come down to that great Stars defense, hold some teams at bay. Next week is a great test playing the Panthers. I'm very curious to see how that happens, especially with how good Josh Love was last week and that defense. Those are my USFL quarterback rankings for week 1 going into week 2. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share around. Tell me where I'm right. Tell me where I'm wrong. Otherwise, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you guys